better. It's a funny thing about life. People are often waiting for some great big event, some monumental change, to come along and shift everything in their favor. Better. They think success is born out of dramatic breakthroughs, sudden strokes of luck, or overnight victories. Better. But let me tell you something I discovered the hard way. Life doesn't usually change overnight because of one giant step. Better. It changes because of the little things you do every single day. Small daily disciplines, practice consistently. Better. Can take you further in 1 week than random efforts spread over a lifetime. That's the secret I stumbled upon, and it turned my entire direction around. Better. I used to think if I wanted change, I needed to overhaul my entire life in one grand sweep. I wanted instant transformation, but what I kept getting was frustration. Better. Because starting big is easy, but sustaining big is nearly impossible. The energy burns out. But when I learned the value of small daily disciplines, better, I realized the compound effect they carry. See, if you write down your goals every morning, if you spend just 10 minutes exercising, better. If you dedicate 15 minutes to reading something uplifting, those little investments begin to multiply. Better. They're like pennies dropped into a jar, seemingly insignificant at first, but over time, they create wealth. In that 1 week when I tried this, I started small. Better. I told myself, Jim, just keep a promise to yourself today. And I picked simple promises. Drink more water, go for a walk, read 1 chapter, write down 1 idea. Better. These weren't revolutionary tasks, but the discipline of keeping them started to rewire my thinking. Each check mark on my list was proof that I could rely on myself. Better. And let me tell you, self-respect grows every time you honor your own word. When you respect yourself, you begin to raise your standards. Better. And when you raise your standards, your life has no choice but to follow. Now here's the magic. When you practice a discipline daily, better. It doesn't just change the day, it changes the person. You're not just drinking a glass of water, you're becoming someone who values health. Better. You're not just reading a chapter, you're becoming someone who seeks wisdom. You're not just walking for 10 minutes. Better. You're becoming someone who moves towards strength. That's the real reward. Because the habits shape the character, and the character determines the destiny. Better. Most people underestimate what they can do in a week of consistent effort. They think a week is too short. But here's the truth. Better. A week of small daily disciplines is long enough to create momentum. And momentum is priceless. Once you get rolling, you don't want to stop. Better. The hardest part of pushing a car isn't keeping it moving, it's getting it started. After it's rolling, the effort feels lighter. That's how it is with habits. Better. 1 week of keeping small promises to yourself gives you that first push, and after that it becomes easier. Better. And don't misunderstand, these disciplines don't have to be glamorous. Success isn't always flashy, most of the time it looks boring. Reading instead of scrolling. Going to bed instead of watching one more show. Writing down gratitude instead of complaining. Better. But boring disciplines lead to extraordinary results. 1 week of small changes may not impress your friends, but it will impress your future self. Better. Because the future is built in the present, one discipline at a time. So let me leave you with this: don't wait for a miracle. Don't wait for some big break. Better. Start with something small, a discipline so simple you can't say no to it, and then do it every day for a week. You'll be surprised how fast your energy shifts. Better. Your attitude lifts and your confidence grows. Life isn't changed by 1,000 things once, it's changed by one thing 1,000 times. Better. And if you can embrace the power of small daily disciplines, better. You'll look back one day and realize your whole life turned around in just 1 week. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned is this: when the why gets stronger, better. The how gets easier. You see, most people struggle with their habits, not because they're incapable, not because they're weak, but because they're unclear. Better. They don't know exactly what they're aiming for, so their actions feel scattered, unfocused, and without energy. Better. But once you get clarity of purpose, once you know exactly what you're chasing and why it matters, your actions take on a whole new power. Suddenly, better. The things that used to feel like chores begin to feel like investments. The same habit that used to feel like discipline begins to feel like destiny. better. I remember a time in my life when I was doing a lot of activity, but not making any progress. I was busy, but I wasn't productive. Better. And that's because I had no clear purpose. You can spend your days running in circles if you don't know where the finish line is. But the moment you get clarity, better. Every step counts. You no longer feel like you're wandering. You feel like you're advancing. And the difference is enormous. Better. It's the difference between drifting through life and driving your life forward. Clarity is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Better. Suddenly you can see where everything is. You don't have to stumble. You don't have to guess. Better. And you don't waste your energy bumping into things that don't matter. That's what happened to me the week I decided to really get serious about my habits. Better. I didn't just want to build habits for the sake of building them. I wanted to align them with a purpose. I asked myself, who do I want to become? Better. Where do I want to go? What kind of life do I want to build? And once I answered those questions, the habits became obvious. If I wanted health, better, I had to practice health habits. If I wanted wealth, I had to practice wealth habits. If I wanted wisdom, I had to practice learning habits. Better. The clarity made the choices simple. Now let me tell you, purpose has a way of energizing you. Without purpose, discipline feels heavy. Better. You have to drag yourself into doing the right thing. But with purpose, discipline feels light. You want to do it because it takes you closer to where you want to be. Better. Think about it. If you're walking up a steep hill with no reason, you'll quit halfway. But if there's a treasure waiting at the top, you'll climb with a smile. Better. The hill didn't get shorter. It's your purpose that gave you power. That's why clarity is so important. It transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Better. And here's the thing. Clarity doesn't come by accident. You have to sit down and search for it. You have to write, reflect, ask questions, and listen to your heart. Better. Don't wait for life to hand you a purpose. You've got to create one. That's what I did that week. I wrote down not just what I wanted, but why I wanted it. Better. I didn't just say I wanted to read more books. I said I wanted to grow in wisdom so I could make better decisions. Better. I didn't just say I wanted to save money. I said I wanted freedom, security, and the ability to provide. Better. I didn't just say I wanted to exercise. I said I wanted energy, confidence, and longevity. And suddenly, better. Those habits stopped being random tasks and became extensions of who I was becoming. When you have clarity, your actions line up like arrows pointing to a target. Better. You stop wasting time on distractions. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop quitting halfway through. Because the purpose keeps pulling you forward. Better. And that's the beauty of clarity. It doesn't just shape your actions, it sustains them. It keeps you steady when life tries to shake you. Better. So here's what I want you to remember. A habit without purpose is a burden, but a habit with purpose is a blessing. Better. Don't just do something because someone else says it's good. Do it because it connects to who you want to be. Take 1 week to get clear. Write it down, define it. Better, sharpen it. The clearer your purpose, the stronger your actions. And once your purpose is clear, better, you'll find yourself doing things you never thought you had the strength to do. Not because the habit got easier, but because your vision got stronger. And in the end, better. Clarity of purpose will do more to change your life in 1 week than willpower ever could. If there's one thing I've discovered about life, better, it's that energy is the fuel that drives everything. Without energy, even the best plans remain idle. Without energy, discipline feels impossible. Without energy, better, dreams stay on paper. But with the right energy, you can do more in a week than most people do in a month. And here's the key: energy doesn't come by accident. Better. It comes from the right habits. The quality of your life is often determined by the quality of your energy. Better. And the quality of your energy is determined by the habits you practice every single day. For years, I thought my lack of progress was about time. I kept telling myself, better. If only I had more hours in the day, then I could achieve more. But I later discovered it wasn't time I was missing. It was energy. Better. Time is the same for everyone. We all get 24 hours. The difference is that some people show up to those hours full of life, ready to act. Better. And others drag themselves through the day drained and unmotivated. What creates that difference? Habits. Habits determine whether your body feels alive or exhausted better, whether your mind feels sharp or foggy, whether your spirit feels strong or defeated. That week I decided to change my life. I focused on energy better. I realized that if I could improve my energy, I could improve everything else. And so I started simple. I changed what I was putting into my body better. I swapped heavy meals that left me sluggish for lighter, healthier foods that fueled me. I drank water instead of reaching for endless cups of coffee better. And the change was almost immediate. My mornings no longer felt like a battle just to get moving. I felt awake, alert, and alive better. That one habit of fueling my body differently gave me energy to practice all the other habits I wanted to build. But energy isn't just physical better. It's also mental and emotional. That's why I started feeding my mind with the right input. Instead of scrolling through news designed to make me anxious, better. I began reading books and listening to words that lifted me up better. A few pages of wisdom in the morning sharpened my mind more than an hour of mindless distraction ever could. When you fill your mind with the right material, better. You gain energy because you're not weighed down by negativity. You feel lighter, more focused, more optimistic. It's like replacing junk food with nutritious meals better. But for the mind. And then there's the emotional energy. That one is deeply tied to gratitude and perspective. Better. I made it a habit to pause each day and write down a few things I was thankful for. Now, you might say, Jim, can gratitude really give you energy? Yes, it can. Better. Because gratitude shifts the weight you carry. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you focus on what's present. Instead of feeling drained by problems, better. You feel energized by blessings. The problems don't disappear, but your strength to face them grows. Gratitude is one of those habits that recharges the heart better, and a recharged heart gives you the stamina to keep going. Now here's the beautiful part. Once your energy is strong, discipline doesn't feel forced better. You don't have to push yourself as hard because you've built a reservoir of strength. Think about it. If your phone battery is nearly dead, better. Every app drains it quickly, and you're constantly worried about it shutting off. But when it's fully charged, you can use it all day with confidence. Better. That's what energy does for your life. It keeps you charged so you can use your abilities without constant struggle. Better. Most people underestimate how quickly energy can shift. They think it takes months to feel different. Better. But 1 week of the right habits can change how you feel dramatically. Eat differently for a week, and your body responds. Read uplifting material for a week, better, and your mind clears. Practice gratitude for a week, and your heart feels lighter. The transformation is faster than you think, and once you taste that new energy, better. You'll never want to go back. So here's what I want you to remember. Don't chase time. Chase energy. Better. Don't pray for easier days. Build stronger energy to face them. And don't wait for motivation to show up. Create energy by practicing the habits that produce it. Better. The right energy is the foundation for success, because when you feel strong, focused, and alive, you can do almost anything. And the truth is, better. 1 week of the right habits can give you more energy than you've had in years. And once you discover that, better, you'll realize energy was never a gift from luck. It was always a choice built on habits. One of the most overlooked truths about success is this: better. You are not just shaped by what you do, but also by where you are and who you are with. Your environment is like the soil, and you are the seed. Better. Even the best seed cannot grow in poor soil. Even the most ambitious person cannot thrive in an environment that drains them, distracts them, or pulls them down. Better. That's why your progress in life is often a reflection of the environment you choose to stay in. Change the soil and the seed flourishes. Change your environment, better, and you flourish. When I first began to work on myself, I thought all the change had to come from within. And yes, better, personal responsibility is key. You've got to take ownership of your life. But I soon discovered that my environment was either feeding my growth or starving